thank you once again for inviting me. I'm
Okay.
so glad to be here to do this live with you. I am Dr. Shoyemi Damilare. I'm a Christian. I must say that I'm a Christian doctor. I am
Okay.
a family physician. I am presently a senior registrar at LASUT, as the Lagos State University Teaching Hospital.
Hospital.
So
Yeah.
I'm training. I'm becoming a consultant in family medicine. So I'm the family physician. That
Wow,
means
that's
yes,
awesome.
yes, yes. Thank you.
Wow,
I think
that's
that should be
that's
fine.
awesome.
Thank
How
you.
many years have you been practicing? How many years? I know it's been a very long time, but how many years in total?
Okay, I've been practicing for about 10 years now.
10 years. Wow. So let's start with the first question. What is the general misconception people have about health? Let's start with that.
Okay, thank you for that question. Talking about general misconceptions that people have about health. One is that a lot of people think that their health is all about what they feel in their body, um, so which is
Wow.
not true. Health is not just about the feelings you get in your body. It's not about the headache. It's not about the abdominal pain, tummy pain, aches that you may call it. It's about your thinking pattern. It's about your social life. It's about your spiritual life. It's about even your
Wow.
financial life. Yes. So that's one belief. And another is this. To some people, this may not be a general misconception. Some people believe that health, keeping healthy, is actually expensive. Yes.
Wow. So you said people assume that living healthy is
Right.
expensive. Could you explain
Yes.
more on that, please?
Preventive aspect of healthy, and there is the aspect of restorative health. Okay, and the one that is actually expensive, that's why I said it may not be a general thing. The one that is actually expensive is where you are talking about restoring your health. I mean, an individual trying to restore their health. For
Yes.
example,
Yes.
do you know that it's easier to live a more healthy life? I mean, by dieting, proper dieting, talking about your nutrition, talking about exercising. For people, especially people who may have risk factors for obesity, for hypertension, diabetes,
Mhm.
and if anyone develops any of these conditions, obesity is a risk factor for many conditions like hypertension, diabetes. Now, if a person develops any of these medical conditions, there's a tendency, of course, the fact is that if the person needs to be placed on medications, that's going to cost some money. The person has to run some
Definitely.
tests, that's going to cost
Definitely.
some money. So, but I'm
Yeah.
talking basically when I mention it's not as expensive as people think. What is more expensive is the restorative health.
Restoration of
The
the
less
health.
expensive one, yes. What I said is not expensive is that you can get fruits easily around you. You can exercise, even indoor exercising, you can do that. You can get a skipping rope to exercise. These are things that you can
You can
just
even
buy with, even if you don't have to be rich
work.
to spend money on that.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. I
Yes.
mean, this,
Yes.
but people also assume that all these fruits and all these vegetables are somehow expensive. So
Okay.
they end
Mm.
up, not indulging. They just eat, whatever it is that they have. What do
Okay.
you have to say regarding
Okay.
that misconception?
Practically speaking, I'm going to talk in two dimensions relating to that. Now, talking about people's belief, depending on the environment you are in, if you go
Yeah.
to the general market, if you're talking about we are in Nigeria presently. I'm in Nigeria and then talking in this environment. And even depending on where you are, even in your own environment, your country, your nation, you have places where there's a general market where you can get uh, the prices of these fruits less expensive than going into the shopping mall. Of course, the
This
prices there are, yes, the prices are,
supermarket, yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, yes, supermarkets. Yeah, the prices there are more. Then, when you really look at it, practically speaking, when you look at the cost of taking a burger, I mean, going to any of the eateries, yes, yes, I got some people there. Now, talking about taking a burger, meat pie, even you are talking about taking a plate of rice with chicken at the eatery. Now, you can't compare the price of that to the price of buying just a bunch of bananas.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Wow.
Even right now, that we say things are really expensive, we can really talk about it. I don't know if anyone has the experience to share with us on that. Fruits, no matter how expensive they are, cannot they are not really as expensive as junk foods,
That's
right?
junk foods. But
Yes. And talking
junk,
about really
yeah.
talking about yes, okay, okay.
No, no, if you can continue, continue,
Okay,
sir.
I should go ahead. Yes, talking
Yes.
about this is talking about your own health right now, and we are talking about people doing preventive medicine, talking about
Medicine.
preventive health, prevention against developing diseases, which actually will cost more than maintaining a healthy lifestyle.
Okay, so
Okay.
if I
Yes.
understand you correctly, there is the preventive, there is the uh
Curative or restorative
ment yeah,
health.
maintaining, and there is restorative.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So which is more, I mean, of course, the restorative is more expensive,
Yes,
obviously.
it is.
But
Mm.
what's the difference between preventive and maintaining? Yes.
Okay, okay, okay. Maintaining. Okay, let me start with maintaining. Maintaining is such that okay, after a proper medical assessment, and a person has been certified to be fit health-wise, then ensuring that they are maintaining habits, doing things that probably they have been doing to help them maintain or have that kind of a healthy state or status, then that is what can be described as having a maintaining health.
Maintaining.
But talking about preventive, for example, uh, there are things that we call there are conditions or diseases that are generational. Talking about genetic factors when it comes to hypertension, diabetes. So if a person has a family history of hypertension or diabetes,
Yeah.
so to prevent developing that disease, it's not just it's good to pray, not just by prayer. It involves engaging in healthy habits, and that includes
Activities.
very important exercising,
Exercising, eating healthy,
healthy, yes,
adequate sleep, you know.
exactly,
Wow.
healthy weight, ensuring healthy weight, and so those are points when it comes to prevention, prevention of developing, preventing prevention in developing some medical conditions.
Illnesses. So,
Yes.
but can poor a lifestyle lead to high rates of um your financial expenses, like your poor lifestyle, right?
Okay.
Can
Mm.
it lead to an increased um expenses? Understand
It
what I'm trying
can.
to ask?
Yes, I think I get that question. Can poor lifestyle lead
Poor
to
lifestyle.
yes lead to
High
expenses, high
expenses,
expenses,
increased expenses.
increased,
Yes.
yes. Okay, I'll take it up again. I'm going to mention that that can happen, a poor lifestyle. Do you know that the sedentary lifestyle is actually the new smoking? Yes, it's the new smoking. And we all know the risk
Oh
factors,
my God.
risk associated with smoking, smoking cigarettes or any form of
Very
substance.
bad. Very bad. Yeah.
Yes. People can talk about lung cancer and the rest, and
Yeah.
developing other forms of cancer can develop. And do you know that it's also a risk factor for developing cardiovascular diseases like hypertension, a heart attack?
Oh my God.
But now, if someone, an individual, for example, owns a store, a provision store, a large store,
Mm-hmm.
and then like a madam in the shop now, and then you have people that are working for you,
Working
doing
for
the
you.
running
Yeah.
around,
Yeah.
yes, and then you are all seated there for hours through the day, enjoying. Customers are coming,
Eating.
you're just greeting them, eating, and then yes, yes, okay. So that's a gradual process. So that person is moving to overweight, likely to
Mm-hmm.
develop become obese, and then that those are risk factors for developing. I mentioned hypertension, the other side, diabetes, and these are not things that we just say, oh, you have hypertension and that's all. An individual requires proper evaluation. For example, I don't know if somebody has had to do an ECG, that's to measure the electrical activity of the heart. Your doctor may ask for an echo just because of that medical condition, hypertension that has been diagnosed. Doctor may ask for
Wow.
chest X-ray. Doctor may ask for kidney function test. And by the time you start adding up the cost of this investigation at this time, I mean, you will know that
Oh my
it would
God.
have been better to have lived, prevented developing the condition rather
Developing
than
all these
developing the condition
things.
and having to spend a lot. So that is part of the expenses. Now let's go to the extreme. Let me just mention this. Do you know that the extreme, I'm not even talking about death now. Somebody develops the complication from this medical condition, hypertension that I just mentioned, cited as an example, a stroke, a
Oh my God.
kidney failure. You can imagine what that means when they say somebody has to go through dialysis because the hypertension has affected their kidneys. Is that not becoming more expensive now? So really, living a poor lifestyle can make a person spend more. So how important is money to health? Can you help us? How important is money to health?
That's a very good question. And honestly, there is no straightforward answer because it is important to health and it's not exactly important. It's important because you need to eat. You, you need to, you need to, you, you need money to do anything. This light that is on is money. This
Right,
food that you are eating is money. The
right,
fruits that you eat, the vegetables that you eat, you need to have cash to be able to afford them. Now, it
right,
is not so important because you, you don't have to register to a gym to exercise.
right,
Little exercises at home, uh, uh,
right.
uh, dancing is an
Yes,
exercise.
right.
Walking
Mm,
around your neighborhood is a
mm,
very essential exercise. So there is
mm,
no straightforward answer because it is
mm.
important, but at the other end, it's not so important.
Wow.
So yeah.
Okay, thank you for that. I just want our viewers to note this. When it comes to health, according to the World Health Organization, health is defined as a complete state of physical, mental,
Mm-hmm.
and social well being, and not merely the absence of disease or infirmity. I'll take it again. Health is a complete state
State of
of
physical.
physical,
Mm-hmm.
mental, and social well being, and not merely the absence of disease or infirmity. So the state that has to be complete. In fact, as a family physician, as family physicians, we talk about the spiritual is a very important aspect also. So talking about living a healthy life, like I said earlier, one of the misconceptions that people have is that it is just about the body. It's not just about your body.
Body. Yeah.
No, there's a mental aspect which may eventually, if not taken care of, may affect your financial life. We'll go into that. And then there's a social aspect, having quality relationships, very vital for you as an individual. And then there is the spiritual. So,
Okay.
for a healthy lifestyle, there are actually some components which emphasizes what the World Health Organization has defined as health. This includes your diet,
Mm-hmm.
your relationships,
And your spiritual
exercising,
life. Mm-hmm. Exercising.
yes, avoidance of toxic substances like smoking of cigarettes, marijuana, avoiding those, and then your mental well-being, another component of a healthy lifestyle.
Lifestyle.
Then your sleep pattern, sleep quality is another. So a lot of hours, in fact, a lot of money has been lost. Man hours, money has been lost into people trying to get back their health. Now, can you
Yes,
imagine an
correct.
executive now, an executive, business owner that is on
Yeah.
admission in the hospital for about a week, 2 weeks, 1 month? I mean, the main person at the business, directing the affairs of business, and then having to be hospitalized. Do you know how that can affect that particular business? Yes, it can. Okay, so these are very vital areas that we need to look at as individuals.
Right. How does quality relationships affect the health?
Okay, very important. Quality relationships. Talking about relationships, relationship with others, including spouse relationship, spousal relationship, relationship with friends, relationships with families, relationship with colleagues. Now, those are different kinds of relationships that we have as individuals. So
But
we must be
sorry,
able
I
to
have to.
define. Okay,
Okay,
okay.
go on, go on. Yeah, I was gonna ask, what about relationship with, you know, yourself? It's also as
Mm,
important, isn't it?
right. Very important. Very important. You
Okay,
can't.
okay, continue.
There's a saying that says that nobody can make you less inferior than you think of yourself.
Yourself.
Yes.
Right, right.
Nobody can make you inferior, and nobody, you are what you think. You are what you think you are. But as a Christian, I would say I can do all things through Christ that strengthens me. Okay, so that's a thinking
Absolutely.
pattern. That's a thinking pattern. That's very important for me to live life in a healthy manner rather than thinking that somebody is against me, somebody is trying to hurt me, somebody is trying to do this, somebody is trying to do that.
Right.
What's the other person thinking about me? If a person gets overwhelmed with those kind of thoughts, negative thoughts, they can affect their performance, whether at work, at home, at school, wherever. So relationships are important, but we need good relationships. Just like you said, it begins with yourself. What kind of relationship do you have with yourself? Is it a healthy one? What are the thoughts that run through you? Do you get easily irritated? Do you get easily anxious? Those are toxic, negative emotions that we should not allow as individuals. Now, talking about relationships around us, now you must be able to choose wisely. Of course, for those that are married, you don't have a choice. You already made the decision.
Your wife, your
You
spouse
have
is
to
your
live.
best friend.
Yes, you just have to enjoy the relationship, learn how to
Right,
relate, learn how to build, and then grow and enjoy yourself. Very important.
right.
No, there are some that are not. We call those ones relationships that are uh, they are final. You can't change them, especially as a Christian.
There's no
You know,
hope to change it. We died
yes,
here.
yes.
Those kind of relationship.
Okay, so you need to find a way to enjoy yourself. So we hear all kind of things happening and all that. People committing suicide because somebody did something to them, somebody shooting the other person, somebody poisoning the other person. These are
Yeah.
things that have probably arisen from thoughts, actually. Thoughts,
Right, right.
whichever way they allow those thoughts to come in.
To
So
come
we're
in.
talking about external other relationships. We can also choose who we decide to relate with. You can't be relating with somebody that keeps putting you down every now and then. Somebody that does not believe in you, that anytime you try to share your vision, your plans, all they are seeing, even though of course we entertain people to help us to make necessary corrections, to help us build our vision. But if all that the person is doing is to see the negatives around what you plan to do,
Right.
then that may not be an appropriate relationship. So you need relationships that will be positive, build you, your mental health, where you can exchange. Like what we are doing right now is a positive relationship.
Yes,
We are
100%.
discussing to help a number of people, wherever people are watching from all over the world, talking about our health and our wealth. Your health is as important as your wealth. And in fact, there's a saying that goes thus: health is wealth.
Is well.
Really,
Indeed.
health
Indeed it
is
is.
wealth. Hmm.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. But how can you invest into your health? How can you
Okay,
invest
investing into.
financially, of course, into your health?
Okay, thank you for that very vital question. How can you as an individual invest into your health? The first thing is to take a decision. And that decision is that you want to live a healthy life.
Healthy life, right? Lifestyle.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Now, you have to be able to identify. There are some things like somebody developing recurrent headache, somebody developing recurrent abdominal pain. Now, so many things, different things can cause the headache. Different things can cause the abdominal ache. But I'm
Yeah.
going to go into the specifics and then maybe general talk on how to invest in your health.
Health.
Now, the first thing for people that have symptoms, for example, you do not need to wait till the symptoms get worse or
Worse.
become complications before you get to see your doctor.
Hmm.
Because by that time, some people are already coming late. Okay, so what you need to do, investing in your own health, means that I'm not saying you should now start visiting the hospital every now and then
Every
or
now, because
visiting
that's
the
what you're trying
pharmacy.
to say.
Now, some people can say,
Every
now,
now, yeah, I'll
doctor
go
has
to the
said,
hospital.
no, 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 that's not what I mean. It only means
Right.
that if you're, if, in fact, they say, okay, this advert they talk about using a particular drug after 3 days,
Consult
no
your
relief,
doctor.
consult your doctor. Okay, so that's the
Yes.
example of what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
Okay, I'm not trying to go into, especially in our environment here, people go into taking concussions, some supplements are not recommended, and then they begin to hurt themselves. So investing in your health, specifically apart from the things that we have mentioned earlier, talking about healthy diet, talking about healthy nutrition,
Yeah.
vegetables, fruits, which should be actually half of your plate, and then protein, then
Protein,
carbohydrates.
very
Yes,
important. Yes.
yes, and part of eating involves that you, as an adult, for example, I, as much as possible, communicated this to my people, my wife, and I personally choose to eat as much as possible before 7 p.m. My dinner, so that, because I found out, apart from the fact that that's found to be healthy, I found out that for me, it makes me feel heavy, makes me trying to wake up at night. I
Sluggish.
do a lot of studying at night, other activities that I
Uh-huh.
need to do, makes me feel sluggish. So I'm sure some other person may be having that experience too. So you may need to change your pattern. That's part of investing. Investing does not necessarily mean, it means investing your own developed knowledge about your own body. You have been able to recognize that when you take this particular type of meal, you perform better. When you take this particular type of meal, you don't do well. So you try to avoid that. Or this particular type of meal that you take hurts your tummy and all that. So that is
Right.
something you identify by yourself, and then you
Yes.
tend to make necessary adjustments. Okay, so that's that.
Corrections.
Exercising, 30 minutes brisk walking, moderate exercise for at least five days in a week is just what is recommended. Brisk
Yes.
walking means brisk walking, not
Not
running.
just
Of course,
walking
you see
like
people
somebody
running and
is
not just walking. You
dragging
know,
you. Yes.
yeah, some people say, okay, but I trek from my house to the bus stop. Okay, if you are, if you are not conscious of what you're doing, if you are not actively doing it, then
Yeah.
that is not really exercising. Even though you are burning some calories, but it's not a conscious. You must be consciously be involved in what you are doing. Okay, so there are indoor exercises that you can also do. I have done some videos. You can check my videos on indoor exercising, and then
Yeah. So there
chair
are a lot of
exercising,
them.
chair
Hmm.
exercises that you can do actually. So indoor skipping, getting
Okay.
the skipping rope. So, and this is not
Jumping
expensive to get the
jacks
skipping
as
rope.
well. Yeah.
Jumping jacks. Yeah, you can tell us more. You do this routinely. Yes, yes, and you can even register at the gym, like Amaka, as she has done. You know,
Yeah.
you can register at the gym. So you need to consciously invest in your own life. And then I need to mention checkups, very important. Especially by the
Huh.
time you are in your 40s, even before 40s, from 30s, you should be able to know the routine medical tests that you
Checkup.
need to, yes, do as an individual. So that way you can prevent developing, once you recognize there's a likelihood of developing a particular condition, then you need to put in measures to avoid developing that condition. All right?
Right. Right. I was gonna ask a question. You
Okay.
okay, what are the kinds of foods that you should be, because the food I eat, so many people are like, I'll have co- co- cholesterol, I'll have heart
Yeah.
disease, because I eat eggs, I eat 5 eggs every day, right? I eat red meat every day, and I have done my checkup. I don't have all these things, and I have people tell me, "Oh, it's because I'm still young." I'm 29. I'm not that young anymore, but I'm still young, sha, please. But I'm not that young.
You're an adult and you're
I am
growing.
a full grown. I can give birth to plenty children, right? But what, the way I eat, is it recommended for somebody that
Mm.
is very active?
Active,
Oh, that was hard. Active, to eat
active.
in the way I eat.
Okay. Okay, I must
Oh,
mention
and
that one of the things.
I eat,
Okay.
once a day, or at most two times a day. So what would you recommend, or what are your thoughts on it?
Okay, one of the things I appreciate about you is your zeal, your commitment, your passion at helping people to learn about money, finances, and then this invitation to talk about our health.
Health.
I
Yes.
must really say that I I celebrate you for this, and very good.
Thank you.
I'll just keep it up. I'm sure a lot of people appreciate this. Now, talking about what you just shared with me or with
Yes.
us, um, at least one egg a day is okay. Five eggs is too much. It's too much.
For somebody
Okay, now this is it.
that goes heavy in the gym, that goes really heavy in the gym. I lift weights. I
Okay,
carry heavy iron,
okay,
literally.
okay, okay. So for that, okay, what do you think you are getting from that? Let me just know the benefit,
Okay.
the
So
nutritional benefits, if you know.
benefits. It helps me to grow my muscles.
All right, Moses.
So I eat them basically to grow my muscles. That was happening to say
Moses,
muscles.
yes,
Yes.
yes,
So
Moses,
and
right.
they have nutritional benefit. They have so many vitamins. They have so many minerals, and so many health benefits. Not because I just want to eat eggs. I eat them because of their health benefits of my muscles, because now that we are growing older, we need to have muscles to help us to do to do everything, to
All right.
walk, to even do more exercises as well. And you cannot grow your muscles without eating protein.
All right. Yes, you
So
just
that's
hit
why
the
I
nail
I
on the
eat.
head. I wanted to hear that protein. Okay, so
Very
of
important.
course,
I eat.
protein helps. Yes,
Yeah.
helps muscle building, and
Yes.
it's very good. But just like you mentioned, the egg contains the white part and the yellow part.
It does.
That's the yolk, and then the white part. So for example, for somebody, I don't know when the last time you had a checkup, maybe you had a check on your cholesterol levels. But if an individual takes a lot of eggs, especially the yolk, then there's every tendency to also develop high levels of cholesterol. Okay, but there has to be a balance. Just like that's where the checkup comes in.
Comes in.
As you
Yes.
are focusing on taking these proteins for building your muscles because you do a lot of exercising, then you need to also check, is there a balance between what I'm taking in and what I'm burning and what
Exercising.
I'm building? Yes, you need to
Mm,
check. So that's where the check
mm,
comes in. Yes, yes,
mm,
yes,
I
yes.
get that.
So
I
and then
get that.
for those who have high cholesterol levels or have dyslipidemia, hypercholesterolemia, then we advise that they avoid the yolk as much as possible. There are other things that should be avoided, including fried foods. So, but for you now,
Sugar.
the protein, yeah, sugar, yes,
But
forms
we
in
will
different
talk
forms,
about it. We'll talk about
in different
sugar,
forms.
because that's a very good topic on its own. On its
Right,
own.
right. Right. So it's important to note that proteins are in different forms. Your milk also, talking about some cereals, talk about fish,
Yes.
meat. So
Yes.
those are other sources of protein.
Protein.
So the important thing is to ensure that you have a balanced diet. Your plate
Diet.
should be balanced as much as possible.
Let's
Sleep.
talk about sleep.
Yeah, sleep is one
Yes.
very important aspect of your health as an individual. You
How
need
so?
to know that sleep is not just about the quantity. You need to look at the quality of your sleep. Sleep is a restful mode where even though your brain may be a little active, your heart is active, but your body, generally talking about your muscles, your bones, are rested,
Mm-hmm.
and then helps you to refresh and be restored. You can perform better, especially when you are awake. So, when it comes to sleep, an adult on the average should have about 6 hours of sleep, night sleep. Those naps are important also. Maybe during the day, you can have
In the
on the
afternoon.
average 20 to 30 minutes of rest. May even be at work during your break hour. You may just take a rest, even if it's just resting your head on the desk. That's very good. Also, been found out to be helpful. So, we need to look at your sleep pattern. Having a restorative sleep is important because if you are going to
Restorative
be
sleep.
performing at work, you're going to perform well at work, talking about building your finances, whether you own your own business as an individual or you're working for another, you can only perform as healthy as you are. Now, imagine if somebody gets to
Mm.
work and they're having a headache, I mean, so severe, throbbing, and they can't even look at their laptop or the desktop or even work on anything at all at work. Then you can imagine what could happen to that person's section for that day.
Activity. Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
So sleep will help you to get restoration. If you have walked through the day, you need to ensure that at least you get your 6 hours of sleep. And some people have these sleep problems. And one of the things we need to first of all identify what are the factors around you that may be
That is
disturbing your
not
sleep.
allowing you to sleep. hundred
Yes,
percent.
one, maybe noise around you.
The
Some
things you
people,
eat too.
yes,
Yes.
we mentioned that earlier. And
Yes.
then if you take some people like in our environment, some people say, I like swallow. I mean, eba in our environment,
At night.
fufu. Eating that at night as an adult is not healthy, actually. It's not. Okay, so it
Tell
makes
them,
you
doctor.
feel
Oh
heavy.
my
It's
god.
not, it's not, it's
Oh
not.
my
No matter
god.
how passionate, how that is to you, how
Nigerian
I
you
mean,
are. Yes.
how that is your favorite, you have to just move it better at lunch than for dinner.
Dinner.
So yes, so some people do that, and then make them feel heavy, and then
Heavy.
the tendency to develop to become overweight and develop obesity is there. So I was talking about somebody getting to work. If somebody gets sluggish, there are two ways. Person did not sleep well at night, and then they get to work. They get sleepy. They're less able to process information. Their mental health is distorted or disturbed. They can't communicate well with their colleagues.
Colleagues. Yeah.
Then that may even cost them their job. Because if that is being done recurrently,
Wow.
and then they are studying the individual, and then they are wondering if they care, they may ask questions. How is it? If they have a good relationship at that workplace, they may
Mm-hmm.
be asked, and then if they need the help of a medical doctor, they may ask them to see their doctor and help them out. But there are some
Yeah.
companies, institutions that once they see that the individual is not performing, they don't really, maybe they don't care as much, they just begin to consider someone else taking up that job. They begin to
Oh my
assess
god.
and begin to get a feedback that this person is not performing. And when that could have been avoided by getting quality sleep,
Sleep.
getting the number of hours that you need to sleep. So we're talking about things that could hinder a person's
From
sleep
sleeping
pattern. I mean, sleeping
well
well,
at night.
getting the
Yes.
quality. Now, I mentioned noise in a noisy environment, uh,
Yes.
music, and all that. Now, in our generation, talking about this age of technology, we have our phones, we do a lot on our phones, your laptop,
Yeah.
your iPads, and all that. And most of the time, and I'm guilty of this too, we take all those devices to the bed.
To the bed.
Yes, which is not appropriate. Take it to your bed and then you keep scrolling, you keep typing, you try to still complete the work when the bed actually is meant for sleep. In fact, your room,
Right.
as it is recommended, is supposed to be free of table and chair,
Gadgets.
actually, gadgets, TV, and all that. So there's the screen time. The screen time is also important.
Yeah.
It's advisable that between 30 minutes to 1 hour before sleep, you put away your phone, stop the TV, put away the laptop, don't look at any screen. But has it happened to you before? I've slept off with my phone just beside me, and
Doctor,
then
that
I
one
was in
normal level now.
okay. So, but this is not healthy actually. It's not healthy. So these are things that may affect an individual's sleep. You understand? So, because what happens is that the brain begins to interpret that, okay, I still need to be
Yes,
awake, I
it's
still need to
still
be
awake.
awake, I still need to be awake. So, lighting
Oh,
also is a factor that affects people's sleep. Some people say, oh, I don't mind, I can sleep with lights on or without light. But there are individuals that actually, if you can try it, individuals that may be having disturbances in their sleep may actually need to do lights out, lights off, and then see how uh, they can get to sleep better. Okay, so those
wow.
are some of the important points to note when it comes to
To
sleep.
sleep. What is the time in interval from after
Excuse.
you have eaten to when you are about to sleep?
Okay, the time interval.
Yes. How many
Just a minute.
hours, if any?
Okay.
What is it?
Okay, before sleep. You said how
Before
many
sleep.
hours?
How many hours?
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Preferably 1 to 2 hours.
Ah, okay.
Preferably 1 to 2 hours. Now, because really digestion usually on the average takes place for about 4 hours. So the process
Okay.
should begin while you are awake, not when you are asleep.
You're asleep.
Yeah. So that's why some people wake up with feeling full, feeling heavy, bloated, in suffering from
Oh,
indigestion and all that
yeah,
because they
yeah, yeah.
go to sleep immediately. So because the process reduces, metabolism actually reduces uh, during sleep. So it's better when you're awake,
Awake.
you are active, and then digestion is taking place. So if a person takes a heavy meal at night, that's why it becomes a challenge to process the food in their system.
Before they sleep. So,
Yeah.
what about w- water? What's the
Okay.
importance? I mean, of course, it has so many importance, but
Okay.
from a medical perspective,
Yeah.
how should one drink water?
Okay, water is a very important food. I'll call it food.
It is, but it's not food,
Yeah.
but yes, it is. It is.
Yes, yes. We are 70% water, our body. So
Yeah.
we need to be sure that we are taking enough water on the average, at least 3 liters of water per day. So that means, okay, what are you looking out for?
I'm
That
looking
means,
for my jug. Let me
okay, I have my
my
I have my bottle here.
It's too small, doctor. Wait, wait, wait,
Yes,
wait.
I refill.
Doctor,
I
give me
keep
one minute.
refilling. I keep refilling that. Okay, so what that means is that uh, maybe you have a 75 cl, at least 6 bottles of water. Of course, water is contained in the food that we eat, so that makes
Yes.
up for other losses from
Obviously.
sweating like this, and then from passing urine, other forms from talking, saliva, and all that. So we need to
Yeah.
replace as much as possible. So water helps. keeps our cells hydrated, helps in digestion, and
Yes.
then you feel much better. It's better than taking carbonated drinks actually. Better,
No, definitely.
better than alcohol.
Definitely. What about salt?
Salt,
Right?
okay.
Yes.
Mm,
What is the, how do I ask this question? Because a lot of people are saying, oh, it's good, eat your salt, da 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 da. That when you sweat, there
right,
is salt in it. You know, when you
right,
pee, there is
right,
salt in it.
right.
When you are having intercourse, that thing that is coming out has
Mm,
salt as well. And
mm,
there are other people that are saying that salt is not good for the health.
mm.
So, what are your thoughts on it?
Okay, as a medical doctor, I need
Yes.
to just break it down a little. I mentioned that the cells of our body, the cells, for example, do you know that our eyes are made up of cells? The cells are those are the minutest part, aspects of man that we cannot see with the naked eye. But when they come together, they eventually become the tissues that we see, the
Yeah.
organs that we can see, like the eyes, the nose, the ears, and all that. So what happens is that the cells they actually exchange water and salt. So that's what
Okay.
happens. Okay, so that function, that exchange actually helps to keep the cell to perform its function, helps the cells to perform their function. I'm trying to break it down as much as
Oh, okay.
possible. The
Okay.
cells are there in the body,
Uh huh.
and there is something we call exchange of water and salts,
Okay.
which actually helps. There's a level the salts should be. There's a level of water that must be contained for a cell to perform at its
At its
optimum
optimal level. Yeah.
level. Yes.
Okay.
So if there's any distortion in that performance, for example, let me explain it this way. If a person is passing too much salt or passing sugar through their kidneys, through their urine, then they will get some symptoms in their body. Dehydration will be setting in. They will begin to have tremors. That's because there's a disturbance in
In
the
that
number of salt,
exchange.
yes, and the water that the individual should have in their body. So,
Mm.
yes. So talking
All
about
right.
salt now, recommended is 1.6 to 2.4. That's just talking about the specific in terms of grams of salt
Grams.
recommended per day for intake. So when you look at our diet generally, we have salt in the soil, all kinds of fertilizers, all
Everything.
kinds
Yeah.
of canned foods, salt everywhere. Uh, so many things laden with salt that we take.
Yeah.
So the concern really is the salt that is added to food. That's where the concern really is. Even though people that get involved in a lot of seafoods, um, crayfish, crabs,
Yeah.
and all that, they tend to
Yeah.
have more salt. People that
More
engage in
salt.
taking more of canned foods, also have the tendency to have more salt. And you need to
Okay.
know this that I've been emphasizing on hypertension. It's a common thing in our environment. People having hypertension. In fact, a lot of people don't know that they do have until they just go for a checkup and they find out
Oh
that
my
yes, they have
god.
hypertension. And one of the causes is excessive intake of salt
Okay.
because that puts pressure. It draws water and puts pressure on the vessels, the blood vessels, to pump blood. The heart is pumping.
Function more.
Yes, and then blood running through the vessels. So it puts a lot of pressure on the vessels. So when these vessels that are supplying different aspects of the body, of the human body, the heart, even itself, the kidneys, the brain, that's why an individual can get a stroke. Because if the blood that is pumping, the pressure is high in the brain, the blood supplying the brain, that blood vessel can burst. And person can bleed into the brain. So you can see how we are moving from salt intake, just taking, determining the level of salt that you are taking can determine whether an individual develops hypertension and then eventually develops a stroke. So the challenge is this: avoid, avoid it. If you have been doing this, if you are watching this, avoid adding salt to your food. Now, if you have been served food, there are some people, I mean, it's been a long while I've seen anyone do this, getting table salt or getting table salt to add
The
to food
food
and
to
saying,
draw it
no, it is
in.
not salty enough,
Yeah.
it's not salty enough. It's better to, because there are salt in almost all kind of foods that we take. So moderation is key. It's not that you shouldn't take salt at all, because there's also a tendency to develop some medical conditions like a goiter if somebody is not taking adequate iodine in salt, that will help them
Okay,
to
that's what
to
causes it.
their thyroid to function well. Yes, that can
Well,
also happen. So we must avoid the extremes, not taking at all and then taking excessive. So I hope I've been able to answer.
yes, which leads me to the final question that I have, and that is, what about sugar? If salt does all this, then what is because that's what sugar does.
Yeah.
So, what about
Yeah.
sugar?
Yeah. They actually, now these two are solutes. We call them solutes. They are substances that draw water. Even though a person that takes a lot of sugar has a tendency to become overweight, like adding,
Adding
just
weight.
adding, adding,
Yeah.
adding, adding, and then there's a tendency to become obese.
Mm-hmm.
Now, sugar is not only in what we call granulated sugar. Sugar is also found in
Everything.
carbohydrates, every
Yes.
starch consumption.
Yes.
I mentioned people that love to take
Have
my
burger.
environment,
Woo!
fufu and
Donuts.
pa and all that.
Yummy.
And then we now go to sugar-laden foods like you mentioned donuts. All the fries as much as possible. Sugars added, cakes, candies, and all that. So
Right.
the same way salt draws water, sugar draws water. But what this also does is that it puts the blood, if that increases, level of sugar increases in the blood of an individual blood system, then there's a tendency to develop, uh, it puts them at risk, that's the way I put it, of developing some infections, including urinary tract infection, for example.
Really?
So that's why
From
sometimes
sugar.
a doctor will say, yes, actually puts an individual, what happens is that the immunity is also dropped.
Very low.
What
Yes.
happens is
That one
this,
I know.
yes, a lot of microorganisms actually thrive on sugar. Yes, organisms. Those are disease causing agents.
Organisms.
They
Yeah.
thrive on sugar. So that's why there's a tendency for somebody, if you are aware of what we call, there's something we call diabetic foods.
Diabetic
There are individual
foods. Like what?
foods, yes. That means an individual who has diabetes mellitus now has developed a wound in their foot or feet, and then
Oh,
that
food.
wound is not healing.
Healing.
Yes. Normally,
Oh.
if a normal individual gets an injury on the leg, there's a
Injury,
process
it
of
heals
healing.
by it's yes,
Yes.
it heals by
But for a person,
itself.
yes, but for an individual that's diabetic, now when you talk about diabetic, being diabetic, there's a diagnosis that has to be made with a test
Done.
to be done. But an
Yes.
individual with symptoms like excessive passage of urine, excessive consumption of food, excessive
Alcohol.
consumption of water, these are
Oh
symptoms,
my god.
even weight loss, symptoms of a person who may likely be having diabetes. So what happens is this: if there's no caution and such an individual does not see a nutritionist, a dietitian, does not get a doctor's recommendation appropriately, proper evaluation, and they continue to
Yeah.
consume a lot of sugar. You know, we are talking about sugar,
Yes.
and I'm talking beyond taking granulated sugar. I'm talking about sugars in
Carbohydrates.
drinks,
Yes.
carbohydrates, starchy
Yes.
meals, and
Yes.
heavy consumption of those. Now, the person has a tendency of having a lot of this in their system, and the body cannot handle it. Microorganisms will now say, now we are here. We can find something to consume. Have you seen sugar on the floor before? Sugar on the table? You see what
Ants.
comes around sugar?
Yes.
Ants, right? So those are things. Those are things that we can see. How much more the
Oh my god.
microorganisms that we cannot see. So before that manifestation of that diabetic foot, that individual has had a poor, possibly a poor control, or they even didn't know that they had diabetes, or even if they are diabetic and they knew, probably did not take care of, have a good control of that sugar. We call it
On time.
blood sugar. Yes, on time.
Blood
So the person
sugar rise.
develops. So that's part of the way somebody may lose money. Yes, even if they have been saving, they now have to spend money to get a wound to be
More.
healed
Yes.
when that could have been prevented.
Wow.
Uh, yes, yes,
Wow.
yes,
But
yes,
people know these things. They know that
right,
this is wrong. Oh, I cannot.
yeah,
Shouldn't do this. But they still end up doing it.
right.
What do you think is the cause of it? I don't even know what to attribute it to, because we know this thing. Oh, nobody should eat sugar, but you just see people consuming it.
Mm.
So
You're right.
what did you? Yeah, what do you think is the cause of it? Is it
Thank you
longer
for that
truth?
question.
It could be longer
Really,
truth.
our tongues actually like to like generally
Sweet, sweet
sweet
things.
things. You know, the tongue like prefers to taste something sweet that rather than taking something bitter or natural. But it's actually a
100%.
training. It's a training. It's a training. Anything that you can do consistently for at least 21 days, consistently,
Yes. Yes.
becomes a habit, right?
Habits.
And then you find that you can do it. So I'm going to mention what really happens. Some people have not actually decided. It has to take a decision. Not that your doctor is taking that decision for you.
Yes.
Because I'll mention some things, the components of change. If you're going to make a change to living a healthy lifestyle, I'm going to go to that. But the first thing is taking a decision that I want to live a better life, more healthy life. I can be a more productive person when I take care
Mm,
of my own physical health, my
mm,
mental health, my social health, and even
mm.
my spiritual health.
Right.
So when you take that decision, let it first of all settle in you. So whatever is coming from outside, you already have a defense.
Cannot.
You have a
Yes.
point you are standing on to relate with. So that means, for example, you have a choice. If you go to a party, for example, a gathering, where they are serving all these things.
Alcohol.
Yes, you can choose to take alcohol, you can choose to take water. It's a
Water.
choice. So it takes a decision on your part. You have to, we make our choices, then our choices make us. Right.
Wow.
So if a
I
person
love that.
decides to be taking alcohol, of course, one day, Some people may live into old age without developing anything, thank God. But there are others, there are many others that
Majority
may
of
develop.
others cannot do that. Yes.
Right, right. Talk about kidney disease, developing hypertension, even diabetes, you know, cancer. So these are risks. So talking about being being able to make a change, you can, for now, somebody may be contemplating. There's something we call the different model steps when it comes to making a change. Want to change a particular habit, then you may be at the stage of pre-contemplation. You're not even ready. You're not thinking about it. Then what is doctor saying now? What is
Right.
this? What are they talking about at this time? Okay, you may be contemplating, but you may need to just still process this information that we are passing across. And one of the challenges some people have is the right information. Now people go
Yes.
to Google, they Google and have all kind of information rather than going to the professional. Just like you need an accountant, you need a lawyer, you need somebody that is
Doctor.
a special, yes, a specialist in what they are doing. The
A
same way for
particular
your health, you need a
field.
professional, medical doctor, you need a nutritionist, you need a physiotherapist, depending on your need. You need a
Right.
psychotherapist if you need one. So now there's a pre-contemplation. Now you're contemplating. You may be thinking now, now I think I need to make a change. When last did you check your blood pressure? When was the last time you checked your weight? Do you know your body mass
Very
index?
important.
So these are very important things. Now you're contemplating, I'm going to make a change. I'm going to make a change. I'll do that. I'll do it. But if you don't start,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
you're not going to do it. So part of preparation, which is the third stage, I mentioned pre-contemplation. The second one is contemplation, and the third stage is you are now preparing to
Yeah.
do it. Part of your preparation means that tomorrow when you go out or wherever you are, whichever time of the day you are watching this, next time you are going out around the market or wherever, just get some fruits. I make it a
And
daily,
yes,
a weekly
having
habit now to get fruits for the house. I mean, just for the week, as
right.
much as possible.
Yes.
So we
Yes.
practice that. Water, getting water along with you as you go, is not going to cost you much, if anything. Okay, so that is part of preparation. I have skipping rope in the house. I skip, my children see me, they see me skip. Daddy, I want to, can I also
They
do
will
this? Can I
even
do this? Yeah.
join you. Yes.
Yes. Chair exercises, I stretch. I have some other mini equipment that I use in the house. I'm not registered at the gym. I have a lot of work. I mean, that's my own personal excuse for not going to the gym.
You
I have a
don't
lot
have
of
to really
work,
start the
clinical
gym
work at the gym.
to
Okay,
exercise. There are so many things at
exactly,
home that can be done. So many
exactly.
of them. So many.
So, so part of preparation means that you are now fixing a time, maybe early in the morning, that you are choosing to exercise. 30 minutes. In fact, you will find yourself performing better at work.
You feel,
Your boss will
oh
not be thinking,
doctor, if I tell
yes,
you how I feel every
you
day,
feel energized. Yes,
you be like, let's go. Today
so
is a
much energy.
good day. Like I'll be
Let,
happy.
let, let me tell you what has happened. Blood has flown to your brain, blood flow increases to your brain, blood
Oh
flow
my
increases to
god.
your muscles, to your bones, different parts of your body, your heart.
Right.
Digestion is better when you exercise. I mean, you cannot quantify it. The
So many
benefits of
benefits.
exercising. Right. So that is very important. Then the next stage is action. Action. When you are now taking
Taking
action,
action. Yeah.
yes, you know that there's a way your health can affect your finances. So I need to take
Definitely.
action. I have to be proactive. It means registering at a gym if you need to, getting
Mm-hmm.
some support. If you have people
People
that you can, community that you can
exercise
join
with.
with in your
Yes.
community, it may even be in your
Yes.
estate. If you live in an estate, you may just have
Yes.
people of like minds. May gather together, even if it's a church. You may have weekends, maybe a Saturday where you gather
Work
together
from
to
home.
just do some
Yes.
some gymnastics and all that. So very
Yeah.
important.
We really appreciate your presence, right? In the absence of no other question, or doctor, did you have any more questions to ask our audience
No, no,
or
no.
to ask me?
No other question for now, and I can't see any question in the chat box.
No, there is none in the chat box.
Just comment.
Anyway, thank you so much, everyone,
Thank
and
you, thank
enjoy
you.
the rest of your night and the weekend. Bye, guys. Bye, doctor.
Stay healthy and keep keeping fit.
Oh, definitely. I don't plan to. By the time I'm, you know, 90 years old, I'll be lifting weights. Small, small weights.
That's possible.
That's the plan.
Really.
That's the plan.
It's possible.
That's the plan. All right. Thank
God
you.
God bless
Bye.
you. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.